Welcome to Life with Gaz. If you're new to the channel, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring that bell, because I have a new sea fishing video every Wednesday, and then the second Saturday of every month I'll put a freshwater video on as well.
Well, hey guys, welcome to Life with Gaz. Now I've just got down here to Fleetwood Marina, and that's because I'm picking up the blue mink to go out on a wreck trip. Now there could be a chance of all kinds of new species, so fingers crossed. Hopefully we might see a new species or two on Life with Gaz, and hopefully we're going to be out for a good trip.
So the first lure that I put on after steaming out for 3.5 hours was the rhubarb and custard sidewinder. Now I did switch from the shad down to the sand eel mimic because I had a couple of bites on the shad, failed to pick up any fish from that, failed to set the hook. So switching over really did make the difference. Now when we're fishing, obviously we're wreck fishing out here, we're fishing anywhere from 150 to 200 foot of water over 5 different wrecks in the course of this video. Now the whole objective for this was to sort of steam up to the far end of the wreck, drift with the tide over the top of the wreck, and then do the same again and try and pick the fish up which are using the wrecks as sort of focal points on the sort of empty desert at the bottom of the ocean. Now this obviously had some quite good results for me, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Now the boat that I was out on was the blue mink, and this boat is one that I really enjoy being out on because I always have a good trip when I'm out with Andy on this boat. So if you want to see what the blue mink's all about, check out his Facebook page, and I'll leave a link for that in the description under the video. So straight away after changing onto the sand eel mimic, 3 drifts in, I managed to pick up my first fish, which was this pollock. Now a few pouting had come up and a couple of small pollock had come up, and Andy said, well, these fish aren't actually that big over here, so what we'll do is we'll drop off to another wreck and see what the stamp of fish are like over on that one, and that's exactly what we did. Over on the second wreck I picked up my second species, and this is the first of a few pouting that I had. Now, although you can obviously throw the fish back, they don't obviously tend to survive, and if they've come up from that deep, very few fish can actually cope with that. So I've kept all the fish because I do have uses for all of these fish, and obviously nothing's going to go to waste. I don't feel like putting dead fish back in the sea. But The technique which I was using today whilst I was fishing on all of these wrecks was to wind up, count the amount of turns and see if there was a pattern of where I was picking bites up. And on this wreck I was picking bites up at about sort of 7 to 10 turns, and every time on each drift we were told we were just hitting the edge of the wreck, then I'll drop straight down to the bottom and restart that count just there. And this was working great for me all day. Few drifts in and fish coming up all around the boat and me getting one as well, soon noticed that this second wreck the fish were about double the size, with most of the pollock coming up at around about the 4 pound mark. Well, on that one I've managed to hook up into the wreck, but I managed to free it and start bringing that back up. Now, on my rig I did have a snap off, so I had a bit of lighter line, so if I caught the weight or the rig, then I'll be able to get one or the other back. But what I did this one was I was pulling it back up, unaware that I still had both the rig and the little soft plastic attached. And about mid-water, I managed to pick up a fish. Now this changed my tactic. Whenever I heard that we were coming up to the end of the drift, I would do a slow retrieve all the way up through the water column. And I actually did manage to pick up about 3 fish in mid-water. And this one was a cold fish, and that was the first one of those 3. Rhubarb and custard sand eel mimics were working great all the way around the boat, and they were working for me as well, which is why I was gutted it was the only one I had, because I snapped it off on the wreck and changed over to the hot pink. Now I was a bit sceptical about going over to the hot pink to start with, but after picking up the next fish I was more than happy to carry on with it. Now sometimes I'd feel a knock on the bottom and I think maybe that's a fish, but instead of carrying on bringing that up and allowing the fish to chase it, what I'd do is I'd just let it stop, like the bait was stunned, and obviously the bait's weighted so it would have a little bit of movement in it anyway, and this often resulted in the fish hitting it a second time and allowed me to set the hook. Now with a slow retrieve up off of the bottom at the end of that wreck, about mid-water I managed to pick up another fish, and this fish turned out to be my fourth species of the day, a cod, and this one weighed in at £2 5 ounces. From the bite and then the subsequent fight from this fish, I could feel that this was a bit of a bigger fish. and this one actually turned out to be a new PB for me. Now this one, obviously being a bit of a bigger fish, was capable of dragging the weight around a little bit, and one of the sort of problems with wreck fishing, especially on a charter boat, is that there's more than your line down there. So sometimes you can end up wrapping up with someone else fishing next to you, or sometimes even on the other side of the boat, and this fish managed to go around a line of someone fishing 2 spaces down from me. With the day's fishing drawing to a close, I'd had an absolutely fantastic day. I've managed to pick up 2 coalfish, 4 pouting, 5 pollock and 2 cod. Now, unfortunately, I did lose that little rhubarb and custard sidewinder. That hot pink got a bit smashed up towards the end as well, so that one's had to go in the bin as well. But I would definitely recommend those little sidewinders. If you are going out on a wreck, I know I'm certainly going to go and get some more as well, because they really did do the business whilst we were fishing out here over at the Isle of Man. Which incidentally, the furthest point we were out from dock at Fleetwood was around about 65 miles out. So it was a long way out, but it was well worth it in the end.
So there you go guys, the end of a productive trip. Now I've got to start filleting, but I've got obviously the pollock just here. I've got that nice £6 pollock just up the top there. I've got some pouting, I've got some coalies, and I've got a couple of cod as well to do. So guys, absolutely buzzing just there. I've got a PB pollock, it's £6 3 ounces. And I've had a great day out. But if you guys have liked this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button down here. Check out my latest fishing video over there and my boat fishing playlist up top.